10 remarkable and unique mountain monasteries worldwide. Mont-Saint-Michel Abbey, France. Mont-Saint-Michel is a Gothic-style monastery, dedicated to the Archangel Michael, situated on a granite rock surrounded by quicksand in the Normandy region of France. It stands amid vast coastlines affected by the highest tides in continental Europe. Adorned with towering, intricately carved vaults and delicate stained glass windows, the monastery's construction spanned from the 11th to the 16th century, adapting to the challenging natural terrain, making it an engineering and artistic marvel of the Middle Ages. Formerly known as the Benedictine Abbey, Mont-Saint-Michel evolved into a prominent centre for religious and cultural activities. Pilgrims, including kings from France and England, visited the monastery over many centuries. From the 8th to the 18th century, Mont-Saint-Michel became a significant pilgrimage site for Christians. Today, the monastery is managed by the Jerusalem monks and has twice appeared on UNESCO's World Heritage List. This recognition has attracted 2.5 million tourists annually, making it one of the foremost cultural destinations in France. Despite the tumultuous history of the mountain, including the destruction of its front portion, the integrity of the entire area and the monastery persists to this day. Extensive restoration efforts in the 19th century reinstated its solemnity and iconic appearance, notably with the construction of the spire in 1897. The values are preserved despite the siltation of the bay, due to natural occurrences and the construction of a causeway in 1879, altering the island's insular characteristics. Following a significant restoration project by the French government, the maritime character of Mont-Saint-Michel was restored in 2015. Meteora Monasteries, Greece. The monasteries at Meteora are believed to have originated in the mid-14th century by a monk from Mount Athos named St. Athanasios the Meteorite. Meteora is a rock formation in the Trikala region of Greece, featuring one of the largest vertical rock formations, where Eastern Orthodox monastic complexes were constructed. Of the initial 24 monasteries, 6 are still active today, built on massive natural rock pillars and rounded boulders resembling dominating hills. In the local area, these monasteries were established between the 13th and 14th centuries. The location of Meteora is near the town of Kalabica, on the northwest edge of the Thessaly Plain, close to the Pineos River and the Pindus mountain range. The 6 existing monasteries create a truly inspiring panorama, with towering rock masses and ancient relics. Essentially, Meteora has become a living testament to the Eastern Orthodox faith, spanning 2,000 years. 2 of the 6 monasteries, Agios Stephanos and Roussanou, are convents, while the remaining 4 are female monks. Although not mentioned in classical Greek mythology or ancient Greek literature, the first inhabitants were noted to be ascetic monks who settled here under the era of rock-carved dwellings. In the 9th century AD, they ascended to higher regions, living in crevices and clefts of the stone towers, some reaching heights of 550 meters above the plain. Initially, hermits led solitary lives, gathering only on Sundays or special days to pray, and worship together in a church built at the foot of a rock called Dupiani. From the 11th century onwards, these monks occupied caves in Meteora. However, the monasteries were only built in the 14th century as a refuge from increasing attacks by the Turks on Greece. During this time, ascent to the mountain's summit was accomplished by ladders or windlass systems, but it is much simpler today, with steps carved into the rock since the 1920s. In 1988, Meteora was added to UNESCO's World Heritage List for its outstanding architecture and beauty, alongside its religious and artistic significance. Monte Cassino Abbey, Italy. Located in the Lazio mountain region, this beautiful monastery is considered the first home of the Benedictine order. Established in 529 by Saint Benedict of Nursia, the patron saint of Europe, who is regarded as the founder of Western monasticism. Monte Cassino Abbey is situated on the site of an ancient walled city, still bearing signs of Cyclopean walls, a medieval architectural style constructed with large limestone blocks tightly fitted with minimal gaps between adjacent stones, using a clay mortar. Over nearly 1,500 years, Monte Cassino Abbey has endured numerous traumatic events. Less than 50 years after its construction, it was plundered by Lombard invaders, forcing the residing monks to flee to Rome. Despite restoration in 718, it was abandoned again in 833 when it was ravaged and set ablaze by Islamic forces. The monastery was reconstructed once more on the orders of Pope Agapetus II in 949. During the 11th and 12th centuries, it became the most important religious institution in Italy, acquiring an extensive territorial domain. It housed one of the richest medieval libraries in Europe. During this time, along with some of the oldest evidence of the Italian language written within the monastery. In World War II, Monte Cassino became a vital part of the Gustav Line. On February 15, 1944, it underwent intense Allied bombing due to a misunderstanding that it was being used as a German observation post. However, it was also a refuge for many civilians, resulting in the deaths of tens of thousands of soldiers and hundreds of civilians in this infamous battle. Following these events, the monastery was rebuilt for the last time and remains atop the mountain. Today, Monte Cassino serves as a place of pilgrimage and preserves the remains of Saint Benedict and his twin sister, Saint Scholastica, alongside those who attempted to survive the tumultuous and lengthy history of the monastery. Montserrat Monastery, Spain. Santa Maria di Montserrat is a monastery of the Benedictine order, located on Montserrat Mountain, 48 kilometers northwest of Barcelona, Spain. It was founded in the 11th century and rebuilt between the 19th and 20th centuries, remaining active to this day with over 70 monks. It is a significant religious retreat for youth groups from Barcelona and Catalonia, often undertaking overnight hikes to witness the sunrise from the mountain peak. The Montserrat Monastery is a work of architect Josep Puig i Cadafalch and consists of 2 levels supported by stone columns. The lower level opens to the garden and features a fountain in the central area. On the walls, one can observe ancient artworks, some dating back to the 10th century. The expansive garden includes 2 prayer houses, Sant Isel and Santa Victoria, with a Romanesque style. Legend has it that the famous statue of the Virgin of Montserrat was discovered in 880. Subsequently, worship began at 4 previous monasteries in the 9th century: Santa Maria, Sant Isel, Sant Pere, and Sant Martí. Around 1011, a monk named Aliba from the Santa Maria di Ripoll monastery was appointed to the mountain to oversee the Santa Cecilia di Montserrat monastery. Due to the reluctance to accept this new situation, Oliba decided to establish a new monastery, Santa Maria di Montserrat, in 1025, at the site of an old hermitage with the same name. This became the most important refuge among the existing places on the mountain due to the veneration of the Virgin of Montserrat. During the Napoleonic invasion of Spain in 1811 to 1812, the monastery was twice burned and plundered by the army, resulting in the loss of many treasures. In 1835, it had to be closed until it was restored in 1844. In 1880, Montserrat celebrated its 1,000 years of existence. On September 11, 1881, Pope Leo XIII officially declared the Virgin of Montserrat the patron saint of Catalonia. From the 1940s onwards, the Santa Maria di Montserrat Monastery has often been considered a symbol of nationalism. On April 27, 1947, a ceremony was held to commemorate the crowning ceremony of the Virgin of Montserrat, with the participation of over 100,000 people. Additionally, the monastery played a notable role in providing a refuge for intellectuals and secret political activists from various backgrounds. Totev Monastery, Armenia. Totev Monastery is situated in southeastern Armenia, on the edge of a deep gorge of the Vorotan River in the Sunic region of ancient Armenia. The Totev Plateau has been used since pre-Christian times, featuring an early Christian temple. This temple was replaced by a modest church after the Christianization of Armenia. In the 4th century, the development of the Totev Monastery began in the 9th century, when it became the seat of the Bishop of Sunic, playing a significant role in the region's history economically, politically, spiritually, and culturally. Totev is described as one of the 2 most famous monasteries in the area, along with Noravank in the Vayotdzor province. By the early 11th century, Totev Monastery hosted around 1,000 monks and numerous artisans. During the Seljuk invasion in the 12th century and the earthquake of 1136, it suffered considerable damage. In 1170, Seljuk Turks looted the monastery and burned about 10,000 manuscripts. It was rebuilt through the efforts of Bishop Stepanos. Near the end of the 13th century, with the establishment of a university in the 14th century, Totev became a major cultural center in Armenia. In the campaigns of 1381 to 1387, the monastery was plundered, burnt, and lost a significant part of its territory. It faced further devastation during Shahruk's invasion in 1434. Totev experienced a revival in the 17th and 18th centuries, with its structures being restored and new buildings added. However, the monastery continued to suffer severe damage after the earthquake of 1931, with the dome and bell tower being destroyed. Despite reconstruction efforts, the bell tower retains signs of destruction to this day. In addition to the surrounding buildings, Totev Monastery boasts a standing pillar called Gavazan, built in the 10th century. After the completion of the Church of Paul and Peter, it survived numerous invasions and earthquakes. In the 18th century, living quarters for the bishop, monk cells, a warehouse, dining room, kitchen, bakery, and a winery were added, along with 16 rectangular classrooms with vaulted ceilings built along the main facades. The school buildings of Totev Monastery are characteristic examples of the educational monastery architecture used in the late medieval period. In 1995, Totev Monastery, Totevianapat, and the surrounding areas of the Vorotan Valley are added to the UNESCO tentative list for their cultural and scientific significance. Ostrog Monastery, Montenegro. Ostrog is a monastery of the Serbian Orthodox Church, located on an almost vertical and high rock on the larger Strauska Grada Plateau in Montenegro. It is a marvelous structure, created through the interaction of nature and human intervention, carved almost entirely into a mountain wall. Today, this area is considered the jewel of Montenegro's spiritualism. After the Tomb of Jesus and the Holy Mountain, Ostrog Monastery is the 3rd most visited sacred place for Orthodox Christians worldwide. Over 100,000 pilgrims from various religions visit it annually. Ostrog was established exclusively for St. Basil, who is buried here. The Lower Donji Monastir Monastery is 3 kilometers away from the main complex, located in the center surrounding the Church of the Holy Trinity, with vibrant frescoes built in 1824. The Lower Donji Monastir Monastery is 3 kilometers away from the main complex, located in the center surrounding the Church of the Holy Trinity. With vibrant frescoes built in 1824, between the upper and lower monasteries, is the Church of St. Todotiro, built in 2003, which also preserves the relics of this saint over centuries in the Ostrog region. Amidst the breathtaking natural landscape of Montenegro, the country has been shaped during periods of both peace and hope for freedom. Poets, writers, politicians, and ordinary people have come to set foot here to admire this mysterious and unique area. In addition, Upper Ostrog is the most impressive part of the monastery, featuring a bell tower as tall as a 5-story building, creating an impressive scene in the majestic cave palace. According to tradition, pilgrims walk 3 kilometers from the lower monastery to the upper monastery barefoot, before entering the church to pray before St. Basil. They also contribute clothing, blankets, or consumable items like soap for the monks. A commemorative service is held on May 12th each year, as St. Basil passed away on April 29th according to the Orthodox Church calendar, equivalent to May 12th in the Western calendar. Sumela Monastery, Turkey. Sumela is a Greek Orthodox monastery dedicated to Virgin Mary, situated in Karadag, in the Pontic Mountains, in the Maca district of the Trabzon province in present-day Turkey. Sumela is derived from the Greek term Sumela, meaning black mountain, hidden within a steep rock wall. At an altitude of approximately 1,200 meters, overlooking the Altai Valley, this location holds significant historical and cultural importance due to an increasing number of falling rocks. On September 22, 2015, Sumela Monastery was closed to the public for a year for safety reasons. However, this closure extended for more than 3 years until it reopened on May 25, 2019. The Turkish Ministry of Culture and Tourism identified the founding date of Sumela, Cam 386 AD, during the reign of Emperor Theodosius I according to local accounts. The monastery was established by 2 Athenian monks named Barnabas and Sophronios. It gained fame for an icon depicting Theotokos, Mother of God named Panagia Gorgopikus, believed to be painted by the Apostle Luke. Throughout its long history, Sumela faced destruction and ruin multiple times, but was restored by various emperors. After the conquest by Ottoman Mehmed II in 1461, Sumela Monastery received protection and privileges from the ruling sultans. It remained a popular destination for monks and tourists for many years. In 1682 and the ensuing decades, it became the headquarters of the Frontisterion of Trapezus, a renowned Greek educational institution. Key features of the Sumela Monastery complex include a rock church, prayer rooms, a kitchen, student dormitories, guest houses, a library, and a sacred stream revered by Eastern Orthodox followers. The extensive water supply system, providing water to the monastery, was built against the rock wall and has mostly been restored. The entrance leads up a long and narrow staircase, penetrating into the inner courtyard. On the left, in front of a cave, several monastery buildings are located. This cave was converted into a church and became the center of the monastery. The largest building with a balcony in front of the rock wall served as the monks' quarters and accommodation for guests during the restoration from 2015 to 2017. A secret tunnel was discovered, leading to what is believed to be the prayer place of Christian believers. Invisible frescoes depicting images between heaven and hell, life and the afterworld, were also found. Sacra di San Michel Monastery, Italy, located on a majestic site, at an elevation of 960 meters above sea level in northern Italy. The Sacra di San Michel Monastery was built on the summit of Mount Perceriano. It gained fame through the works of writer Umberto Eco, who chose it as the setting for his award-winning mystery novel, The Name of the Rose, 1980. Local legend claims that the monastery was founded by St. John Vincent to honor the Archangel Michael, who defeated the devil Lucifer. The first written evidence of the monastery by a monk named William indicates that it was built in the late 10th century, with Byzantine influences evident in the columns and vaults of the crypt. The front façade follows Romanesque style, towering over the valley and leading to a sloping staircase named the Stairway of the Deceased, ending at a grand stone gate from the 12th century known as the Door of the Zodiac. Additionally, there is a central nave and two aisles, incorporating elements of both Gothic and Romanesque architecture. In the 11th century, the monastery structure was handed over to Benedictine monks, who gradually developed its spiritual significance. They provided refuge for pilgrims and protected the local population. During this period, the site expanded with monks merging a small monastery with guest rooms for pilgrims. By the 15th century, it experienced its most glorious historical period, becoming a major center for Benedictine monasticism in Italy. In the 19th century, the Rosminian Order of Priests was also established there. In 2016, the monastery's impressive museum received over 100,000 visitors. However, on the night of January 24, 2018, the Sacre de Saint-Michel monastery suffered severe damage from a roof fire. Although the critical architectural elements were not affected, extensive restoration was necessary for its full recovery. Jveri Monastery, Republic of Georgia, built on top of a rocky hill at the confluence of the Mtvari and the Agvi rivers in Georgia, Eastern Europe. Jveri is a 6th century Georgian Orthodox monastery and one of the most iconic examples of the rare architectural style of the country. During the early medieval period, which remains almost unchanged to this day, it is also recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. According to local legend, this is the place where St. Nino, a 4th century female evangelist, erected a large wooden cross on the site of a former pagan temple. It is believed that this cross performed miracles, attracting pilgrims from the entire Caucasus region. While there is no historical documentation to prove the authenticity of the story, the current monastery is reliably dated to approximately 590 to 605, during the reign of King Aristotari Stepanos I. Jveri exemplifies a harmonious combination of architecture and nature. The monastery appears to emerge from the mountain, with the west façade reinforced by a counterfeit wall suspended almost miraculously on the cliff. It has two entrances, from the north and south. The entire structure forms a cross, stretching from east to west, with each arm terminating in crescent-shaped vaults. This is a prime example of the four-apse with four niches architectural style, also known as tetrarch, which became characteristic of Georgian architecture and inspired many churches and monasteries in the region. The diverse sculptures, influenced by Greek and Sasanian styles, adorn the front of the monastery. The southern entrance features a relief of the veneration of the Holy Cross, while the northern entrance is surrounded by a small church built earlier. From a distance, the west façade appears unadorned. The monastery complex is surrounded by the ruins of walls with towers, featuring an entrance gate from the east. There is much debate about the construction of this monastery, as it bears influences of national identity in both Georgia and Armenia. Each country claims to have invented the four-apse with four niches style of Jveri. Mountain monasteries have become excellent pilgrimage destinations. Preserving relics for centuries, they symbolize strong religious iconography, conveying the idea that mountains are close to the sky as well as to God. This is why, since the inception of Christianity, spiritual sites have been built on the tops of steep cliffs, mountains, or gentle hills.